the record was gonna come out and ask you to tweet it. I don't remember what it was, but you was tied up. You was mad busy at the time. You was getting shaken because you always been doing like fucking 8 things at the same time and shit. And I ended up getting on the jack with you, and I said, "Yeah, how's everything going?" And you was explaining how one person's moving this way, this way, this person. You wasn't even using names. I mean, I guess we could kind of like fill in the gaps and shit. But I just remember your frustration at the time, just being on how fucking like you. And I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but in your head, you were just like, "Yo, this is ABC.
Yeah,
This ain't that hard. We just get in and rap."
that's it.
And I said, and I was like, "Yo, why don't you just get them more? Y'all got to get in the same city." And I started, really like throwing a bunch of words of encouragement at the time because you was a little down on the situation because it felt like everybody was looking the other direction. But I remember how frustrated you sounded because you just felt like, "What the fuck? We're rappers. All we need to do is get in the booth and just do this shit." And what's crazy is people don't realize that the way the record came together, the the movement wasn't even created by the artist, and it kind of threw the artist off guard with how accepted it was. And the record, I can't. I sometimes for a while couldn't even hear the original record because it was so raw, it was so rushed, as you know, wasn't even mixed properly.
Oh yeah.
Scram never even sent the fucking stems.
Yo,
Yeah, you
Nino,
know what I'm saying.
Nino,
Yo,
Can I tell you how
mm-hmm.
hearing that Slaughterhouse record sounded to me as a fan? It was like, yo, like, cause I was unaware of what was even going on. So, that was in like when I was doing my searching, my digging and shit. And I heard the record. I'm like, oh, Joel, then this nigga, then this nigga, then this nigga. What the fuck is going on? Like, I was fucked up for a second as a fan. It was just,
Bruh,
I
I
mean,
was in 8th grade. That
like,
shit
what is happening?
started. That shit started how like I rap, listening to everybody on that shit.
Yeah. And I had already followed most everybody. Like I followed Royce, followed Crook, followed Joe. I followed them individually. So when I heard the song, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how did all these niggas link up like this?
And it's crazy because look, Crook, this is two elite MCs that battle rap. Real sick right here. Drake's favorite. Shout outs to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like fucking getting booked to do Drake's birthday party, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
battle,
that's real sick.
straight up Drake hitting him, Drake wanted him to battle for him. That and Sick is one of the purest lyricists out
Yeah.
here in battle
I'm
rap.
already
And
knowing,
then you
man. I met him at that party. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
oh, that's
yeah,
fire.
yeah.
I'm out.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good time, man.
That was the highlight of my weekend,
That
Crook.
was that was
Me and
dope.
Drake, Chris Brown, that's cool. But meeting you,
Yeah.
that was the
Hey,
highlight.
actually, Crook, I'm not. Hey, you know what, Crook? I lied to you. I say you never disappointed me or whatever. You did disappoint me one time, and I know you busy, probably working on this album. But I DM'd you asking you if you could sign a piece of merch for my man Real Six's birthday.
Oh shit.
I literally hit you a few weeks before his birthday, because my homegirl who's in here, Pindy, I remember she said, "Yo, what can we get Real Sick for his birthday?" And I said, "Yo, Crooked Eyes is fit. He about to meet Drake. He met Chris Brown that weekend, and all he wanted to meet was Crooked Eye."
Hey dog, and
So,
we finally did. And I went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Somebody told me you got to check him out. I went down the rabbit hole. I'm like, damn, this dude is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's,
yeah, he
Hey, I
bonkers.
And
appreciate
sick,
that,
the
Doug. I
crazy, sick,
appreciate it.
sick. You know the craziest shit of it all? Me and you battled. That's the craziest shit.
Yeah,
Me and you
right.
battled. Like we had one of them ones. That shit was lit.
That song sparked the whole thing, Crook, because like rappers that are mega nice, be hitting me, and they be like, "Yo, I done been to the battle events, Crook." They don't walk up to me and go, "You Nino Bless? Leave holes in your vest that'll open your chest like a sunken treasure? That's you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got that on my bro. I played that on my iPod when I was 15, bro.
right.
That's how I learned how to." I'm like, "Damn,
Yeah, it
that
was
song,
impactful. That
jeez,
song was very impactful, dog, and it stopped a potential war because everybody was aiming at each other. Royce and Joe had a little something. They were subbing each other. Royce
right,
shot me a sub because I didn't return the verse. I was busy. So he shot me a
right."
sub on Bar Exam 2, which is my favorite Royce fucking mixtape. But I got subbed on my favorite mixtape from him, you know what I'm saying? But Uh,
Yo, I forgot about that. I don't think you've ever brought that up before, but that's
Yeah, that
crazy. I
is
forgot.
true. There was
I
mad
re-
little disses going on
I
at that
remember.
time.
I remember at the time when we did the record, you brought that up to me. That's crazy. I forgot about
Cause
this.
I remember Royce and Joe was supposed to battle at some thing, like some shit or something, and
yeah,
Joe said some shit like Royce fell the fuck off woman at that time.
yeah.
So
It
yeah,
was
it was mad little
so
disses
that
going
record
on.
brought everybody together, and we'd all
Right.
decided, yo, that's dope. You know what I mean? Because it could have been something totally different. You know what I mean? But right now, dog, the situation. The thing that hurt me is two things, man. One, Royce, he jumped in the car with Joe again, and we all know Joe ain't gonna rap. And we've been playing that same song for 20 years, 10 years, man. Like, yo, are you gonna rap? Yeah, I'm gonna rap, and it's all talk. So my whole thing was that kind of hurt me that he jumped in the car with him when I had such a beautiful opportunity for the group. You know what I mean? And then the other thing that hurts me is the fact that Royce believes Joe is gonna rap. You know what I mean? Like that shit look crazy when I see Joe. He like, yeah, we was close to making an album. We weren't close. A couple years ago, we were supposed to finish Glasshouse, and we was gonna add some new joints to it. We all made a plan to go to Detroit to Heaven, and in the middle of the winter. And when I got to Heaven, it was just me and Royce. So I called Joel, like, where you at? He said, well, Joe called me and said he ain't coming. So I figured it was some use of me coming. No, they didn't show up. Only me and Royce was there. We ended up doing 10 joints together. You know what I mean? That's just sitting in a hard drive somewhere because I was there for a week and a half. So we just ended up recording, doing our thing, and they wasn't even there. And like I said, they planned it out. We planned the dates. Okay, we all available. We'll be here. I jumped on a plane from Cali, went down there. You know what I mean? And they didn't show up. So when they say that narrative of we close and we was almost about to make an album, dog, we was never about to make nothing, man. It wasn't going down. We tried that way. You know what I mean? And they didn't want to try a new way, which would have been, this deal. It was a cool deal. I feel like it's the best deal Slaughterhouse could get because we ain't had no product in the market for a long time, so we don't really know exactly what our value is as a group. I just always knew it was high, so I said, okay, maybe we got to show them what the value is. But at the same time, dog, it just wasn't never going to happen, and it's bittersweet. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it just wasn't never going to happen, man. And if Royce don't want to do it without Joe, then that's it. The group is over because I'm not waiting on Joe for nothing.
Do you think they made any points that you could understand on their side when with the shit they talking?
I didn't think they made no points because it wasn't truthful. You saying it ain't a deal on the table when that's like calling me a liar. Why would I come up to you and say it's a deal and it ain't a deal? And then they saying paperwork, but from what I was told, because Joe never called me, was Joe said, I I don't want to be the one to shit on this deal to Crook, but we can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this deal, and I'm not doing this. And he was like, I'm gonna call Crook, and he never called. You know what I mean? So I waited for a couple weeks, and then I just went on Twitter like, yo, y'all got 48 hours to call me, and he still never called. You feel me? So um, I can't feel it when they not telling the truth. You know what I mean? Because I told them, look, Nino, this how cold the game is. There's some people in high positions that are in the Universal Music Group uh, system that I heard was supposedly blocking Joe because of some shit Joe did. So I
Right.
went and found a beautiful deal outside of that system so it wouldn't be nobody who could, try to block him. And even that wasn't enough. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, it's sad to see Royce really believe Joe. You know what I mean? After all these years of Joe being Joe, I mean, we be on the phone like, yo, let's finish Glasshouse. And he like, nah, I'm throwing swimming pool parties all summer. I ain't gonna be in the studio doing no Glasshouse. So my thing is, dog, all that talk, let's just keep it real. If everybody keep it real, they talked about accountability. All right, be real then. Tell the people the real. You know what I mean? But it ain't coming out that way on that side. So, that's the disappointing part.
Crook, then when you brought the deal to the table, was it just because I didn't talk to you enough? When you brought the deal to the table, was it like this is the deal and we got to take it, or was it more like to trigger action and go, all right, if y'all could get some, we could think of something better? But was it just something to start getting the ball rolling, or was it just like that was just a situation that was like on some we should just do this and nothing else?
Well, Royce told me, hey, man, let's put some paperwork on the table and, you know, we can start negotiating and maybe Joe will change his mind. I said, listen, I'm not waiting on Joe. Tell Joe to call me, and whatever he wants in the paperwork, whatever percentages, whatever, we'll just put it in the paperwork because the system that is going through my business partner with I got other ventures with, he got that kind of juice. So he could have made the deal look however we wanted it to look. But we can't do that if there's no communication. You know what I'm saying? So once Joe took his stance that he wasn't going to talk and that he wasn't going to do the deal, and once Royce said he wasn't going to do Slaughterhouse without Joe, that was it.
Yeah, this shit is gut wrenching, man. It's fucking gut wrenching as a fan. I ain't gonna front.
It's gut wrenching as a member of the group too, because I, dog, when Joe said he didn't want to do it, I damn near got on my knees and thank God, bro, because the universe, the Most High, whatever you call, you know, the supreme being, whatever you call it, even if you atheist, I know energy and vibes, and the universe knew I didn't want to do nothing with Joe anyway. I don't want to stand next to Joe. There's some things that went on behind the scenes with me and Joe to where he showed me that he wasn't a stand-up dude where I was concerned. Maybe Royce, maybe that's why they got some sort of, relationship that's a different dynamic. But as far as me, he was never a stand-up dude where I was concerned. So I was like happy, like, all right, well, let's do the three man. You know what I mean? And when Royce said no, it was like, that hit me hard. You know what I mean? Because me and Royce was like family. And it's like, all right, well, shit, now what? And me and Joel was like, yo, let's make something. And I was like, look, man, whenever you live aligned with your truth, good things happen. So we just gonna talk about all this shit. We gonna tell the fans, yo, we tried, and this is how it all went down. And they not gonna like it, but it's the truth. And we gonna just live in our truth. And that's just what the project is.
Some of the fans that are disappointed, the comments I see is that like the way it looks like it's like y'all project means there's no going back from here. Like it can't be undone. Like there's no going back from here. And is that what the symbolism was with everything y'all was
The
doing, or
symbol
was
the
just it was
symbolism
it?
was me, for me. I can only speak for myself. For me, burning the logo, burning the pig up and all that, that was me getting rid of all that shit out of my mind. That was me moving on from a situation that disturbed my peace. You know what I mean? That's what that was. And when they talk about, oh man, 25% we own, nah, we got jerked in the beginning, bro. We do not even own that Slaughterhouse logo. One of the manager's wives owns, and the manager and his wife owns that fucking logo right now. If you go to the
Don't tell me
if you go
that.
to the
Don't tell me
listen,
that.
listen, Nino, if you go to
Come
the
on.
trademark, we don't even own that
Come.
shit. So when they pushing this narrative that they burning something that they own, we don't own it. It's crazy.
Uh,
I got the receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like
nah,
you
but
could go,
you ain't gotta tell
you
me,
could
bro.
go.
You ain't
Hey
gotta tell
Nino,
me.
hey Nino. Anybody in
Yo,
this room can go to and Google free trademark search and put in Slaughterhouse and see, do you see any of our names on that trademark?
it's crazy to me because the song was done with nobody's help but ourselves, and the movement was built by nobody else but y'all.
And the fans and
Y'all
the
did it,
supporters.
and the fans. Yeah,
They built
that's
that
it.
movement, man, and we got jerked in the beginning. And 2010, they went and made a move and trademarked the logo for all situations, clothes, for fucking.
But that was without telling you. That was
They
without
didn't tell
telling
us
y'all.
nothing.
That's
All we was doing was
crazy.
in the studio making music and drinking, and partying and all that. They ain't tell us shit about that, dog. We got jerked. And it's like, dog, tell the people the truth. Don't say you heard, oh, they burnt the pig shirt up. Nigga, we don't even own that.
But y'all own the E1 shit at least, right?
The E1 shit, uh, yeah, I guess we own the E1 shit, but you know, they couldn't jerk us there because we was paying attention in those meetings. But everywhere
Right.
else that they could jerk us, they jerked us. And that's just really what it is, dog. And I'm like, yo, these narratives got holes in them. You know what I mean? Like, if you saying that we did it for a bag, right? If you saying that we broke, that's the narrative. We broke and we did this for a bag. Well, if your so-called brothers are broke and one of them come to the table with 7 figures and you say no, is that really your brother? If he don't want to see you eat, you know what I mean? So no, we not broke. We've been in the game for down there 20 something years, dog. We not broke, but if that in your mind, if you feel like we broke, and here comes one of the best deals ever, you get to give the fans what they want, and you get to get a little something in your pocket, and you think your brother is broke, but you still say no. I say yes right now, Nino. If you told me, yo, Crook, I need 10 verses real quick from you. I'm about to get a 7 figure bag for it. And I ain't, and you know, this could help pour into me and my family, my businesses, whatever. Uh dog, we'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it
Kirk,
is.
Kirk, Kirk, I know you better than that. You don't even need to be 7 figures. You a real you a real dude, and you a good dude when it comes to, as long as the back end shit is right and all that. I know you do shit from the heart,
Man,
and you've done a lot of shit from the heart. Kirk, I
and I
know a lot of this shit.
appreciate that because Nino,
Yeah,
look,
I know what it is.
look, Nino, I always brought them shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when we did our first merchandise deal with Movado, they was offering us some chump change. So I went out and I found another company that tripled the offer, and they said no. You know what I mean? So I look back on those kind of things and I say, man, you know what? They wasn't never gonna do anything that I brought to the table unless it was fast money. Now, when they needed feature money or something like that, I go out and get it for them. You know what I mean? That was all good. But nobody ever came to me and said, "Hey, I got this for you." You know what I mean? It didn't happen. And when I had one shot on BET, I asked Slaughterhouse to perform at the finale. Well, if you go on BET Plus right now and punch in one shot, the performance at the end is Rhapsody, and I got a special guest judge Remy Ma because Slaughterhouse wouldn't do it. You feel what I'm saying?
You talking about the SMA shit?
Yeah, I created that
I
show.
remember that. I know. So there's a bunch of people listening.
Yeah,
So
it's a
like,
bunch of. I
I
created that
I
show.
okay, not even just that. I could and talk about bags. I'll even say the price. So the dude, I forgot his fucking name. He worked with DX. He worked right underneath Mike, who ended up owning this shit. And I know you was doing the SMH show, and you suggested me to them, and one of them hit me, and I ended up doing a song for the compilation they did with Mad Child, that are all people, and I got $1,500 to do a verse, and might have got 2 grand even to do a verse. And dude hit me up and he was like, "Yo, Crook told me to suggest you for this compilation." So I know you get people. You was getting me. I hadn't even talked to you in like a year.
Yeah, dog. I listen. You know who I hired. You know who I hired to do the motherfucking mixing for the songs and the sounds that you heard coming off that TV show. Parks. Because I was like, yo, dog, this is what we do. If we calling ourselves a
Right,
movement, then we
right,
want to see everybody eat. That's just what it
right.
is, and it's just
Yeah.
disheartening to see the narrative get spun around like that, and especially from Royce because I got so much love for Royce. It's just hard for me to hear him just so be in Joe's corner when he knows what Joe was up to. He knows it. You know what I mean? And to tell the fans that we was real close to getting a Slaughterhouse album couldn't be further from the truth. Because we tried for years and years. We recorded music. We did all kinds of shit, dog, and it just wasn't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It got to the point where we couldn't even all get in the same room together.
Damn.
So yeah, man. Now we celebrating, the rise and fall. You feel me? It was some good times. It was some bad times. We gonna talk about it like we always did in our lives. Nobody said nothing when I left Death Row Records and did a DVD called Life After Death Row that came with a mixtape. I ain't seen nobody jumping up and down for me telling my story of what happened while I was on Death Row. This is what we do as artists. You know what I mean? We tell our life stories, and they don't want this story out there. So all these other counter narratives are being thrown out. That's just not facts and not true, man. But yo, the album is super fucking fire, and you know they're gonna have to sit back and let us tell our story. And if they want to jump in and go in the booth and tell their story, fine. You know what I mean? All they can say about me is sometimes I was drunk and cussing motherfuckers out. That was a bad look, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much what I'm gonna hold myself accountable for. Other than that, I was in that booth every single time, putting my heart in every single line.
Yeah, you don't gotta apologize for shit. I mean, like, yeah, you ain't gotta apologize for shit. You kind of fucked my head up with a few things you just dropped though. Like this, I did not know the logo was owned by somebody else. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Niggas talking all this ownership shit. And it's like, let's just be real right now. This is a time and a moment. This is a teachable moment for other groups who are coming after us. You know what I mean? Get your shit together from the gate. You know what I mean? Don't allow people to try to, pump your head up while you're in the lab and bring in bottles and whatever party favors and all that shit and blind you to the business. You know what I mean? That's what's that's being going on behind closed doors, like owning fucking logos and shit. You know what I mean? Um, that's just what it is. Same thing happened with Total Slaughter. I'm the one who thought about Total Slaughter, and they tried to push
Right,
me out of the whole motherfucking show, dog. You know what I mean? They tried to push
right.
me and Joel actually got pushed out the show, and I'm sitting there in New York like, damn, this is my idea, and I'm getting pushed out of this shit. And it's just different shit like that, man. That's just like, you know
Cook,
what?
Cook,
Fuck.
Cook. Let me ask you a question. This is a selfish question, but also real sick. Ask me this, and there was word that you was gonna retire this year.
Yeah.
I, was it because of the frustrations of this? Is that still happening, or has this like reignited a motivation to go? You know what? Let me show these motherfuckers. Because to be real, on some selfish shit, I don't want to see
Man, I appreciate
Crook
that.
stop rap.
I
You know what
appreciate
I
that.
mean?
But yeah, I just want to, I've always been doing business. And it gets tough sometimes juggling the music and the business, because it's like I don't have laser focus on one thing at a time. So it's like, that's one of the reasons that I was like, you know what, I'm going to fall back. I'll still pop up on features, I'll still pop up here and there. But, as far as making solo albums, I'm working on my last one. And this might have been done by now hadn't I got that beautiful opportunity land in my lap to go and see if the squad wanted to do it one more time, and they didn't want to do it. So that it is what it is, man. But
Just
it's enough deadly spitters out here, bro. Like, it's a lot of talent out here, man, and it's cool to retire and start pushing people like the Shoe Gang, and once I get them where I need to get them, it's a slow grind for indie guys with a bunch of bars, but once I get them where they supposed to go, then I'm gonna be looking for somebody else to try to build a platform for. You know what I mean? Because that's how we pay it back. We owe a debt to hip hop. We don't owe a debt. I don't owe a debt to nobody in Slaughterhouse. I owe a debt to hip hop. Hip hop is what saved my life.
nah, real. It just I see guys like Tech 9 still going at it, Slug of Atmosphere still going at it. I see Run the Jewels still doing their shit. And there's rappers, I see Jay-Z rapping in his 50s, and I see dudes still getting better in their mid late 40s, you know, improving and shit. Like I see him trying all this new shit. And, for me, as I age, the hope the hope I get of because when we first started rapping, you got to retire by 30 something. That's the way
Yeah,
we looked at it. Like, yeah, you got an 8 year run with this shit. So 8-10 year run, you lucky if you get that. So when I started rapping, there's a lot of cats when I started rapping that can't even make don't can't even make a living out of this. Like they cook, so they doing a bunch of shit. And God knows what you seen in this shit, because you've been in this shit way longer than me. You basically was raised in this shit. So like I know your story from a little bit more personal of like everything you were doing from the early days, just getting on long before the sway shit and everything. So you've been getting it shaken. So you didn't seen everything. But like for me, it's like some of the hope I see now that we have this platform is like we could always tell our story. It sucks seeing Andre 3000 say, I don't know if I want to rap, but yeah, to hear Crooked I say that, like the dude who I know who would stay on the phone with me talking rhyme schemes and talking setups and talking let that breathe, Nino. Nino, you see right then and there, you gotta now you could pause for a little bit. Now you could do this. Then you could start again. And then talking nerdy rap shit for like 2 hours. Like I don't, yeah, it's just, it's a tough pill to swallow to see. I ain't gonna lie, like that's just my selfish talk. Obviously, you the man, and it's
I,
your life, and obviously I'm supportive of everything you do. But just that shit was a tough pill because I thought Crooked I like he would never retire. That don't even sound right to me. Like
yeah.
it was the craziest shit.
Hey, bro,
Sounded weird to me.
it's all good because guess what? Hey, you're right. You don't have no age limit on your career, bro. You're right. These dudes is pushing it. I watched Marshall come out on stage on Coachella and 50,000 people screaming. You know what I mean? It's not no age limit on it. No matter what nobody say. You know what I mean? You can always if your sword is sharp, you can always cut somebody with it. That's just it. But you know, yeah, for me, it was just a transitional thing, man. Transitioning, man. Plus, the music business is ugly. It's a lot of people, man. They just not real, man. And, I'm trying to control the environments that I'm in. I'm trying to be around real motherfuckers, man, as much as possible. So, yeah, I might be bouncing out, but it's all good, man. I'm gonna leave. Man, dog. The album is gonna be stupid, so I'm gonna make my statement. You know what I mean? And then it's gonna be up to you, and everybody else who carrying that flag, to keep that lyricism alive in hip hop. You know what I mean?
You hear that real sick? It's gonna be up to you, bro. No
That's,
pressure.
Hey, there you
tough
go.
act to follow, man. Tough act to follow.
Yeah, go
Nah,
do
yeah,
hip.
I remember Crook said that to me. The last album shit when I think we were on Three Letterman or something. I think that was the first time I got to talk to him. I was asking him about his Good vs Evil series because that was one of my favorite shit he did. And yeah, that's when he said it, and I was like, damn, I gotta just enjoy the shit that's out, the shit that's coming, and then. But to be honest, it's enough material to sit there and study for years. Like it's a lot of shit to listen to.
Motherfucker got hip hop weeklies, bro. He did hip hop weeklies. Shit is just sitting there.
Yeah, incredible.
Hey, Cook, appreciate you for joining the room, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it. I was gonna say that. Thanks for joining the room,
Hell
dog.
yeah, you already know.
We were just fans, just talking about how this shit is. You know what I mean?
I think he got a call.
Yeah, we was talking about the
Yeah, you
celeb.
you asked all the questions in your interviewer bag.
Yo,
You know what I mean?
Nino jumps in his interview bag so fast. Like I
Mad
never
quick,
like
yeah.
he goes from rapper to interviewer in point 0.7 seconds.
Hey, yo, man, Chuck D and Crooked Eye back to back. I'm just saying, like,
That's what I'm saying, Nino.
Hey,
You on
Crook follows more than just you here. Alright?
Nino jumped his interview bag quick, dog. Nino, you need a podcast, Nino.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't know if he's listening, but that shit threw me off. When he said, "I got a question to ask you," I was like, "Uh oh, what the fuck did I do?"
And then
I thought
Nino
I
was like,
was in.
I got several.
Nah, he came in. He like, "Yo, we gotta use your voice for the
Yeah,
thing." I
see
said,
how every time
oh.
I talk about the syllabics, more syllabic people pull up. It's the magic.
"Ah,
Yeah, the energy
Magic.
attracts. That's what that is. What's up?
Syllabic
I saw
niggas.
some people raising their hand. What's up?
What up, T niggas?
First and foremost, I want to thank
it."
you guys for hosting the space. I've been listening, and it's really informative. That whole thing with Crook, and the whole the whole industry with, I don't know. It was just, for me. It was sad to see because I grew up a Slaughterhouse fan. I grew up like each guy's they were like my idols, you know, and they came together, formed Voltron, and now they're separated in their different camps. But I'm definitely pro Crooked and Joel in this situation because I think that they've aligned themselves with what they believe is true. And for the fan, for speaking in a fan of Slaughterhouse, I think they're doing Crooked and Joel. I think they're doing it for the fans. So it's just great that I joined the space and I got to see his point of view and your questions are very informative. So thank you guys for hosting this space. That's all I'm saying.
Salute, bro.
Yeah, I've been told I'm the best interviewer on the planet, man. Appreciate it, man.
Well,
I will say this, like when he's talking about being there from the beginning and all that shit, like I know his heart's in the right place. So I know he sounds affected by it. So it kind of sucks to just see somebody what I mean, like see the whole shit from the beginning. It's just fucking weird. Kind of sucks to see it like this. I ain't gonna front.
So Nina, let me ask you something though. Do you think Joey's whole ownership thing is genuine, or is he just trying to throw the conversation off?
I mean, that's above my pay grade. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That was news to me with the logo. Because to be honest with you, I was about. I mean, Crook was in his bag. He was talking and he had shit to say. Clearly wanted to ask me for some clearance to use my voice, and that's cool. But to be honest with you, when the whole situation popped off, I spoke to managers, and I remember asking ownership questions because before Slaughterhouse, one of my closest friends is a Motor Technique, and he never ever licensed or gave his rights to anybody. And he came in with that mindset right away, like I'm not giving up no ownership. And I seen him turn down bags. I got him. Like I remember getting him bags, and he was like, nope, nope, that's not happening. So he was one of the first people that I learned ownership from. So when the Slaughterhouse shit first popped off,
Right.
I just asked one or two questions to managers, and they were like, "Yo, this is not your ballpark. That's our job." And I thought that was weird. And I mentioned that to Crook. I mean, Crook just left. I don't know if he's still here. I don't know if he vaguely remembers the conversation. As young as I was in the game, I said, Crook, these people talking like I'm asking regular ownership questions. And Crook was like, oh, we'll never give up ownership. So the fact when Crook says, yo, that shit got done behind my back, I believe him. Because when Crook went into the situation, he already had a record deal. He had two, I think, already, and he already understood that system. And as y'all could see, the way he was talking, he knows the dude from Universal Republic that was blackballing Joey. Like Crook is heavily connected in this shit. So as y'all can see, he knows enough suits and he got enough access to these people. However, he got it. Crook is mad respected behind the scenes. So yeah, I don't know who to believe. Obviously I know Crooked Eye's not a liar, and who would admit that they don't have ownership of something like that? Like that's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. Nobody wants to admit that something got taken from them behind their back. So yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it sounds a little, you know what I mean? That's above my pay grade. I would have known nothing about that. But I do know this, like to me, to be honest, bro, from my perspective, it's sad that this has to play out publicly. Because
Facts.
all of this shit should be behind closed doors. And yeah,
Facts.
that's the dirty part of this shit that I don't like about this shit, to be honest with you.
I agree with that too. Like I wish like they would just like sit down and have a conversation, even if there's no rap group, just to kind of have some type of amnesty about the whole situation. 'Cause especially what caught me off guard, because like the logo shit that didn't surprise me, bro. Like if there's like TikTokers, whatever, that are kind of popping. There's best believe there's people out there that are just buying their names and their logos just in case if they do pop off that they got to go through them. There's people who do that as a business. So like stuff like that is not surprising. What really caught me off guard is when Crick said that he had kind of already like stopped looking at Joe as a stand up person. Because to me, it's like that right there is like regardless of whatever the business is or not, it sounded like he wasn't even trying to fuck with Joe no more on some personal shit. Because at that point, like fuck a group or music, it sounds like you don't even want to be around that person no more for whatever reason.
From what I know, though, they've already tried to work this out behind the scenes, and this is, you know, Crook stated that before that they tried to get in touch, and Joe was non-responsive to that. So, and I agree with you. It's sad to see it play out, but I feel like they tried to do it behind the scenes. Even on the song, they said Zooms and meetings and stuff like that. They couldn't even get people inside the same room. So, you know,
Yeah, but that's the thing. What I'm saying, like, what fucking world are we living in that grown men need an audience to talk personal shit out? This is
Right.
ridiculous. That we need 1,000 people on a live stream, a couple squares, and to look at each other while fucking other people are in the room to have a conversation because the public's watching and there's pressure. Like that makes no fucking sense to me. You know what I mean? Like if something this serious, if it matters to you, get the fuck off this shit and call each other. And then obviously it meant something to Crook. He wasn't on that fucking live stream.
Right. Nah, I feel like that's part of the problem. But I feel like Crook is the type of person where, like, if his mind is made up, he's not trying to be convinced because he was kind of giving everybody grace for years. And I feel like a part of that is like also like being hurt about the fact that so much time has gone by. And I feel like, I mean, we all kind of know, like with Joe Budden, he's not the best. Like, as much as he preaches accountability, he's not really going to take into consideration of like whatever he's saying, is it understood in the way that he meant it to be expressed, right? Because like if he's talking about ownership, that's cool, but does that mean that you're anti all deals, period? That you just want to self fund this shit like on some Damon J shit or Master P shit? You're just trying to create your own enterprise off of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, this shit's trippy.
Yo,
Yo,
Nino, let
oh
me
my
ask
fault.
you a question, man.
Yeah.
Because I know that you were there for the inception of Slaughterhouse. And if we could just kind of go in your mind real quick, how far did you think this group was going to go? And did it go further than you expected? Or did it play out in a way that you expected already, knowing how the business can be?
That's a real good question. So there's two parts to that. There's the in the very beginning phase of like you don't really know if it's even gonna be a group versus it getting off the ground, and then there's the second phase when they was fucking at the Forever video or whatever, or when they did the BT shit. So there's two different phases, right? After the album, after they start touring and all of that, and then beforehand. Initially, you know, to me it seemed far fetched from the beginning, and that's not playing revisionist history. Scram Jones, Graph, Poison Pen. I'm friends with people that are in the business who could tell you that from the very beginning they thought I was weird for even asking the questions I was asking because I just thought, man, you're dealing with too many people, three different managers or four, I think at the time. I think everybody had a different manager actually, and I had no manager. So at that point, it was already to me. It seemed like, oh, how's this going to get done with four different managers, four different, talking heads, and who has autonomy and yada yada yada. And even to where Crooked Eye said something on his live before he came on here. He said one time Joe tried to get the most money when they all stepped on the stage because he was on Love and Hip Hop, right? Like shit like that. I always thought, well, how's the pay scale gonna work? Is it like everybody's equal just because there's four people, yada yada yada? So initially, when the shit got off the ground and I saw the album come out, they were happy. I talked to Joe a couple times, Crook, and so on and so forth. And I was like, oh, this shit looks like it's going good. And I was like, wow, this shit, to me, it could have been as big as they wanted it to be because outside of Joe beefing with Wu Tang and all that bullshit or whatever, I was getting booked to do shows just because I was on the record and I wasn't even in the group. They were like, can we add blah blah off the song and then put you on flyers? And I was getting paid well. So for me, I was like, man, they already doing Rock the Bells and they ain't even been in a group for 5 6 months. So it was fucking crazy. So I right at that point, I was like, oh my God, they can go wherever they want. Then they toured with Tech Nine, which was anybody who here knows Tech Nine owns Strange Music. Tech Nine's super independent. He's a super indie rapper. So I thought, oh my God, this is the smartest shit. You're tapping into the indie shit. So at that point, I was like, oh, sky's the limit. Then when they went to Shady, that's when I was like, oh shit. And I kind of knew before it was gonna happen because Crooked told me, and I actually had a conversation with Crooked Eye about it. Like everything Crooked Eye is talking about right now, we've had a lot of talks. I mean, he probably don't remember because it's 10 years ago. But as you can see, he's tapped into a lot of the stuff we did talk about. But at the time, we did talk about the shady shit and all of that. And I was just like, man, I don't know. You're dealing with these big companies. At that point, to be honest, the first you would think it's backwards, right? You'd be like, yo, you saw him with M, so I know you probably thought they were gonna be the biggest shit. It actually was the opposite. When they first got it off the ground and the indie shit, once I realized they were gonna be a group, I was like, this shit has it's limitless. And then once they got with Shady, I was like, oh my God, there's a ceiling, which lets you know where I think the fucking industry is. And it's weird that it played out that way because Slaughterhouse's greatest success was as an indie company. You know what I'm saying? Like it was Rock the Bells by themselves. They were branding themselves. They were headlining the shows themselves. They didn't need stadiums at all. Like they were building a following. And if all of y'all here are Slaughterhouse fans, y'all know you were tapping in a Slaughterhouse. You wasn't like, who are they? They were Drake, yay. Like y'all didn't care nothing about that. Y'all just cared motherfuckers is rapping, right? Like that's really what it was. It was a collective that came together unexpectedly and kind of like, swagger like us. When Joe did Slaughterhouse, when the record happened, and I was like, yo, get Crooked out on this shit. He hadn't really been too privy with Crooked out because Crooked, whatever. I'm not even gonna get into that. But Crooked works fast. And I said, yo, Crooked could get it done quick. And that was what Joe was stressing. He wanted, it was a timing factor. So when Crook got on the record and then the record came out, one of Joe's reasons for making it a big record and that many people on it and that many people rapping was because Swagger Like Us was kind of popping and it was like a bunch of rappers and the commercial world got kind of hyped because a bunch of big artists started collabing. This is before Khaled started putting all those guys together a lot, right? And the Swagger Like Us kind of generated a buzz. So when Slaughterhouse came together, that's why Joe says at the end, this is a backpack Swagger Like Us or whatever. I don't know, I probably butchered it. But that was like the whole idea. It was like, all right, let's bring this together. And nobody knew the blogs was that big. I'll tell you right now, we didn't. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't know the labels was paying attention. We didn't know the bookers was paying attention, but nobody really knew. Plus, we didn't know those numbers was real. NotRight.com, Two Dope Boys. For anybody that knows, they were getting 700,000 unique visitors a day to the point where sometimes it was 1.2, 1.3 million. They wasn't even called blogs at a certain point. They were just called hip hop outlets. Like it was a bigger look till you get on to if you got a Not Right or Two Dope Boys, then you fucking getting in the source or Double XL. Like at one point, that's because the blog placements was everything. Tyler the Creator was chasing it. Russ was chasing it. You Joyner, you hear all the rappers that are popping that got on virally through a whole nother way. They chased the blogs. That was like the way to get in at the point at that time. But keep in mind, it's '08. Nobody really knows what's happening. Boom, the record comes out, and then all these numbers start showing up. And collectively, dudes was like, "Yo, are these numbers real?" Because it's not like today where you see everything on social media, like all the numbers on the comments on the blogs. It was unreal. It was thousands and thousands of comments. You know what I mean? And I think the reason Crook came in here and kind of shed some light with me and talking about all this shit is because we was on the phone bugging out like at 2 in the morning looking at all the comments. We couldn't even keep up with it. It was fucking unreal. And we didn't even know what it meant. We didn't know what it was. And within 2, 3 days, everybody was talking, yo, there's 8 managers involved. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. So I know I just gave you a long-winded answer, but that's crazy you asked me that because I always have different phases of how I look at the potential of what it was. And it sucks, man, because when they got with Shady, it sucks because that was a conversation that anybody who knows me knows. Like, I was just like, ah, it's just like I didn't like it, man, because now all of a sudden you leaning on some other people, and there's too many people involved with your brand. And I felt like they were the best when they had full autonomy. Also, I thought they did. Crooked just dropped a bombshell when he told me what he said about the logo. So, but and yeah, man, appreciate that question. Any other questions you have?
Nah, man, that was a great answer, man. I think we're all in here for the same reason, man. I think a lot of us. I know for me, man, like I'm heartbroken. I'm very happy with what Joel and Crook are doing. But when I watched that live with Royce and Joe, you're listening to their side, and then you kind of get caught in the middle as a fan, and it's just like I'm looking for therapy, and I saw this space. I'm like, yo, I need to talk to somebody, man. You know what I mean? But
Word,
yeah,
word.
For real,
But
for real.
reason, man.
same thing Real Sick did. Like Real Sick was affected by this to the point where he wanted to start a room, and I
I
know Crook.
lit I literally hit him up like, yo, we gotta talk about this, bro. Cause this, yeah, I'm like, yo, man, I grew up on this shit, and it's crazy to hear that perspective on like how you view. I know you told it to me before, but like as a fan, when they got with Shady and they're doing the BET cipher and shit, I was happy. Cause I didn't know the business, so I'm watching this shit like, yo, they was Shady. This is crazy. You know what I mean? But like, hearing it with that is
Yo,
crazy.
yo, and I want to say something. Something Crooked I said when he said, Nino, if you ever hit me up and needed 10 verses and told me that it was for your family or whatever, you know what I mean? I would do it. Yo, he's not, that's not just words. Like, he's dead serious. Like, Crooked is like, anytime I've ever needed Crooked to be there, he was there and at all times. And if he views you as a brother, I mean, look, bro, he ain't have to come in here and ask me for no fucking permission to use my voice on the skit. Who the fuck am I? But he came in here that like that's who he is, bro. He's always been that from the minute I met him, like dead ass. And so it's not just he's not in here just like so whatever you perspectives anybody sides anybody want to take. You know what I mean? I don't believe in taking sides with something that you're not really that directly involved with. I look at there's a lot of truths and a lot of different views. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's who he is as a person. Like everything he was saying, like he's a stand up, solid dude. Crook them put money in my pockets. That SMA shit we talked about, that's 100. I got a call randomly some show that they were doing that it was supposed to be like American Idol, some rap version. Some cat call hits me up out the blue. Yo, what's up, man? I got some money for you to do sign on a compilation. I'm like, what compilation? What are you talking about? Crooked Eye hit me. Boom, here's my number. He called me. He's like, yo, would you do a verse for $2,000? He didn't even ask me my price. And like my price wouldn't have been 2 grand. It would have been like 1,000, 1,200 max if I'm gonna keep it funky with y'all. And he said, "Yeah, I got 2 grand for you." I said, "Oh, that's dope, man. Why you suggested me on this album?" He goes, "Oh, Crooked Eye suggested you." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I'm on that compilation. It ain't out there nothing, but when he says, "Oh, I try to get people bags," he ain't fucking lying. He got me another bag too randomly. I don't know where he was, but some dudes from the Middle East was trying to put some music together. And again, Crook called my phone one day randomly. It was like, "Yo, some dudes from the Middle East, yo." They got Chino XL. They want a Motor Technique. They got me. They got Razzcast. I suggested you. I said, "Oh, that's dope." I said, "What? So what do I do?" You know, I would have done the verse for Quick for free. He was like, "Oh, no, there's a budget." I said, "What should I charge?" He said, "Man, they're from the Middle East. They got some real paper. Not to stereotype. Don't nobody go crazy. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He like some Middle East dudes doing a global PR campaign. They got money, you know." I said, "All right, cool." I don't want to release no numbers, but Crooked Eye, like he didn't even let me get that off while he was in here. He got me the biggest bag I ever got for a verse in my life. You know what I mean? And it was money that I'm gonna tell you right now, like some people, yeah, I didn't earn it. I didn't deserve it. I mean, I feel like I did, but nobody else would have paid me that. And Crook brought that to me, and this is why Slaughterhouse was moving. He was on tour giving me these calls. So the idea that what he's saying, y'all try to get people bags and everything, this isn't like his own perspective either. Like, I know a lot of people around Crook, his former business partner. I think they still business partners with other shit. His name is Mickey. Good dude. Ran Treacherous. And that's why Crook was bigging up Treacherous for a while. Good fucking solid dude. These are solid dudes in Cali that were around for a long time, had several businesses, and Crook is always spreading the wealth for a lot of people.
But you know what's crazy about their shady situation is like they even mentioned it I think on Vacancy. It's like they had the number one album with 53 or 52,000 records, and like a lot of people look at it as like a failure. But to put it in perspective, Nipsey's Victory Lap sold about the same in the first week and debuted at 4. So like all in all, bro, so much of their major label shady situation, like what I don't like about the major industry shit is that how depending on what artist it is and what kind of music you make, you could sell objectively the same amount of sales, but like the narrative on your shit will be completely different. Like they basically sold as many records as Victory Lap did the first week.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, and in this shit, I'll tell you right now, 4 years is a big difference. So record sales stopped mattering. It was almost like when everybody was counting ringtones and not album sales. Like everybody's like, how much is Soldier Boy's album? If you remember, no one talked about Soldier Boy's albums. Everybody talked about Soldier Boy's singles and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
ringtones and all that. Um, but yeah, the Nipsey, if you determine your own level of success. So if Nipsey's in there in Atlantic, he's working like, his own boss, and he's like, this is what we're shooting for. It's a long-term goal. It's good. But if, I agree with you completely. Like, I don't think those numbers are a failure, but the Shady office is moving different than Nipsey's team. The Shady office, like 50,000 people, We just did a fucking show with 70 with them. You know like, so to them, that like in their minds, it might be completely different because they comparing it to fucking Eminem or whatever the fuck it is or whatever they think. And that sometimes it's unrealistic. You know what I mean? It's impossible to think Beanie Siegel is going to sell platinum the same amount of units Hard Knock Life did. Like, you got to give shit time. You know what I mean? To breathe. And that kind of sucks because Slaughterhouse, I don't feel like they had the time to really build the shit the way they could have. It's kind of bad. I mean, y'all the fans and y'all the ones that were really supporting and buying shit. I mean, I bought the album. I was supporting that shit. You know what I mean? Just because I just wanted to support. So I don't know how y'all feel as fans that started buying this shit, like with the sound. I mean, to me, what I noticed, well, Crook told me this actually, that the fans were a little disappointed in the production. That's what that's what seemed to be. That's their biggest shit wasn't that they disappointed Shady, was that the fan base was a little like, what the fuck? They thought the beats wasn't all that, and apparently that was supposed to get adjusted, and it never did. But yo, one thing nobody ever talks about. Do y'all remember the mixtape they did? That shit was fire.
Bruh, fucking,
Bruh,
was it Art
amazing.
Rules?
That
Bro,
shit was
Or
that shit got a 250,000 downloads on that piff.
yeah, 100%. The first week, that shit got mega traction. Again, we talking numbers that don't mean nothing, but bro, like I don't understand why they don't just drop EPs with that kind of music. Like, why was shit so overthought? Because I remember when I heard the mixtape, I think I might have told Joe this. I was like, why the fuck wasn't this on the album? Like, these joints are
yeah,
crazy.
there's verses from that mixtape I know by heart. So that mixtape was great. Both of them. They put out two. They put out another one like 2 years after the album
What was it, like
too.
House Rules, and then there was another one.
House
Yeah, the
Slippers was
first.
it?
It was
No,
House
no, no.
Rules, and
That
there
was
was
the
another
first
one.
House
Not
Slippers
album.
was Joel shit.
who?
Yeah.
What was the album that they dropped? The mixtape they dropped with
They
Drama.
dropped it like 2 weeks before the album came out. Fuck, what was it called? Something with House. It was some play off of House. Oh, on the
On the
House.
On the
house,
house,
on the
yeah.
house, yeah,
Yeah,
That
on the
was
yeah,
house.
more fire than the
Oh yeah, that's
album.
way better than the album. Yeah.
That was more
yeah.
fire than the album to me. I was shocked that like that was so raw and dope. But then they dropped another one later with Drama, right?
House Rules.
The one with Drama, I think, was